It's JDog406 coming back for another coin roll hunting video, and today we've got another box of nickels right here, and it's a pretty good box, because once we get down here, oh yeah, you can already see it right on the end. We got a buffalo nickel. It is going to be dateless, but maybe it'll have a mint marker, and maybe I can nicodate it. And then right next to it, we got a 1953, and all the 53s, I believe, are a low mintage, so that is absolutely great. So yeah, other than that, though, I'm really hoping we can find some buffaloes in here with dates on them today. Maybe some more of these, maybe some older ones. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so we've got our first roll right here with the buffalo nickel on the end. I am going to pull this out and see if there is a mint mark, because as you can see right there, there is no date on it. So, yeah, let me just pull this out real quick and we can see if there's a mint marker. It looks pretty good even without the date though, and you don't see them as enders a whole lot. But what do we got right there? It looks like we've got a Denver mint mark, so maybe I can nicodate this at the end of the video. Maybe we can get something pretty cool out of it. Alright, let's go ahead and put this down though and move on. Oh, and look at that. It was just a few coins behind it. We have a 1948 Philadelphia right there. It is the more common one for the 3 mints, but it's still nice to be seeing. And other than that, though, I don't think there's anything else in this roll, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, we're getting into the second roll with the 1953 on the end, but before we continue into that, we need to get our little finger condom on. And alright, let's go ahead and get into this. So, it looks like our 53 is going to be a Denver. Alright, so it's still a low mintage. It's just not the best one, which would be the San Francisco. So let's go ahead and put this one down and continue through. Alright, so we've got a Denver reverse right here. It's probably going to be a 64, but let's go ahead and flip it over and see. Alright, looks like we just got a 64, the most common nickel of all time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next roll, because I don't see anything else. Alright, so we're getting into this third roll right here. Hopefully we can have as much luck as we did on the first 2 rolls. And I don't think we're going to be having any luck on this third roll, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, we're getting into the 6th roll right here. What do we got right here? Looks like we got a Denver. And from the looks of this one, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a 64 to me. So let's go ahead and flip it. Oh, what? It is a 64. Usually the 64s don't look this slick. Alright, we're getting into the 11th roll. Alright, we got a 1940 right here. Is it gonna be? Oh, it's just a Philadelphia, the more common one, but still nice to be seeing. Alright, let's go ahead and continue. Alright, we're getting into the 15th roll. Oh, look at what we got right here. We got a 1953 Denver. Alright, so this is the second one that we've gotten. Can we get a Philadelphia or a San Francisco? Let's go ahead and put this one down. And what's this right here? We got another mint mark from Denver. It's going to be a 61, so I will not be keeping this one. Alright, we're getting into the 18th roll. Alright, look what we got right here. We got a 1947 San Francisco. Alright, so it's a low mintage, but it's not a super low one. We're getting into the 20th roll. Alright, look at what we got right here. We got a 1946 Philadelphia, so it is the more common one than the Denver or the San Francisco. And the San Francisco is under 20 million. But we just got the Philadelphia, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the 23rd roll. Ooh, look at what we got right here. We got a 1939. Absolutely crazy to be finding a nickel in the 30s, even if it's the most common one. But still, a 1939 in your roll of nickels, you don't see that every single day. Alright, we're getting into the 25th roll of the box. We don't have a whole lot of finds for this first half of the box, so maybe we can get one or two more before we transition into the second half. And I don't think we're going to be having anything in this halfway point, so let's go ahead and move on to the other side of the box. Right, we're getting into the 28th roll. Oh man, there we go. We did it again. We got another 1939. But can we get lucky today and get a Denver or a San Francisco? I'm really hoping this isn't a Philadelphia, but I have a good feeling that it is going to be. Oh yeah, there we go. We just got a 1939 San Francisco right there. That is an absolutely great date right there. I couldn't have asked for anything better. That's just amazing to see. Alright, but instead of having my jaw drop over this coin, let's go ahead and continue through the rest of the roll. And I don't think we're going to be having anything else other than this beautiful 1939 San Francisco. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the 30th roll. Oh, look at what we got right here. We got a 1958 Denver, the more common one. Wish it was a Philadelphia. Oh, same roll. We got a 1948 Philadelphia, which is the more common one. Alright, wish I could switch the 58 and the 48 around, but that's alright. Alright, we're getting into the 36th roll. Alright, we got a 1957 right here. Can we get the Philadelphia? Nope, we got the Denver, the more common one. Alright, we're getting into the 38th roll. Ooh. I just realized this right here. So we have a 1960 Philadelphia. Right, we got the lower mintage of the two. Let's go ahead and put this one down. Continue through. Alright, we're getting into the 44th roll. Can we get our first piece of silver out of here? Can we get a 44 P, D, or S? Let's go ahead and see. Alright, doesn't seem like we got any silver yet, but this was about the third coin in the roll, and it's going to be a Denver, alright, 1957 Denver, very nice. And I don't think we're going to be having any silver in here, but I do see something pretty nice right here. So look at the looks on this 1979 Denver right here. It looks fabulous. I'm definitely going to be sticking this one to the side. Right, but other than that, though, let's go ahead and move on. Alright, we're getting into the 45th roll. Alright, look at what we got right here. We got a 1940 Denver. It's a little bit better than the Philadelphia, but not as good as the San Francisco. So other than that, let's go ahead and put this one down. Alright, we're getting into the 46th roll. Alright, we've got our first Canadian. So we got a 1984 Canadian cent, or 5 cent, I mean, not 1 cent, with the tiara obverse. Very nice. Right, we're getting into the 48th roll. Alright, we've got a 1959 Denver, the more common one. Alright, we're down to the last two rolls of the box. And I can say it's been a fairly good box so far, especially finding that 1939S. I knew the Buffalo Ender was hiding something else behind there, and I'm glad that I found it. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and get into the second to the last roll. I don't think we're going to be finding anything in this second to the last roll. I am going to double check it as I do all rolls. But other than that, we are going to be moving on to the next one. Alright, we're on our last and final roll. Can we pull a piece of silver out of here? I just realized that we still haven't found one of those. So I'm looking for one of those war nickels from 42 to 45. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it. And it doesn't look like we're going to be having anything to end this box off today. That is a bummer, but we still had a great box. So other than that, let's go ahead and move on to the conclusion. Alright, we're down here at the conclusion, and I was not able to find the fourth one for the 2004 and 2005 designs for the nickels, but we do have the Louisiana Purchase, the Ocean and the View of Joy, and the Bison. We are missing the keelboat, and I'll go ahead and pop up an image of what that looks like if you don't know. And then if we come down here, here's all the common date nickels that we got today. So we had a 1959 from Denver, a 1958 from Denver, couple 1957s from Denver, couple 1948s from Denver, a 1946 from Philadelphia, and these 48s are from Philadelphia, I don't mean Denver. And then we have a 1940 from Philadelphia. And then we have our stuff that's under 60 million. So we have a 1960 Philadelphia. We have a 53 Denver and another 53 Denver. Then we have a 1940 Denver. And then if we come right up here, we have a 1984 Canadian 5 cents. Very nice with the portrait of Queen Elizabeth with the tiara. And then if we come over here, we have the best finds of the box today. And starting us off, we have a key date 1939 San Francisco right here. Just look at that mint marker. See if I can't get any closer on it. I'll just put it underneath the microscope. We'll look at it in a second. But then we got a 1947 San Francisco, and it's a very, very nice one as well. This one is under, I believe, 40 million, so very nice date. And then this one, it might be hard to see like this, but once I put it underneath the microscope, you guys are going to be able to see that this is a 1927 Denver Buffalo nickel. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. Right, so we are going to go ahead and look at this 1939 real quick. Take a nice look at the San Francisco mint marker because it was a little bit hard to see without the microscope. Alright, we got the Buffalo nickel here. We're going to look at the mint mark. You can see that that's a Denver. Clearly see the top of the D right there. Then when I flip this over, I bring it down near the date, you can clearly see that that's a 2. And there's a 7 right there. Very, very nice. That is actually under, I believe, 5 million minted. So that is a very good coin right there, even if the date is barely readable. I will still accept it. It'll probably add a spot into the book. I'm not sure yet, but we will check that here in a second. But other than that, though, I think I'm going to check that, and then we're going to move on to the score sheet. Before we move on to the score sheet, though, I did want to show you something. So there is something else we can be looking for. So we have something called a Henning nickel, and it's a fake nickel made from like the late 30s up to the 50s, the early 50s, and they were made by a guy named Henning, and he mass produced a bunch of these, and they all don't have mint marks. They were from the years 39, 44, 46, 47, and 53. So if you got one of those, you want to make sure you throw it on the scale, and a normal nickel weight would be between 4.8 and 5 grams, but a Henning nickel is going to weigh 5.5 grams or 5.4 grams. somewhere between there. It's going to be overweight. And I just had a 39 and a 46 that I was going to check real quick. But I actually think I do have a Henning nickel somewhere that I can show off. Alright, so I actually do have a Henning nickel to show off right here, and this one's already noticeable. I won't even have to take it out of the package to weigh it. It already weighs 5.4 grams, and if you see, it's a 1944 right there. But if I get up real close, where's the mint marker at? I'm not seeing a mint marker up there at all, not even worn away. It would stand really boldly. I've seen some nickels in really bad shape and the mint marker still stands bold as day. And when I flip this over, yeah, we got a 1944 right there. Very nice. These are pretty expensive nickels. I've seen them go on eBay for just about $200 to $400 depending on the type of condition that they're in. This one's in fairly good condition, I would say. But other than that, though, I just thought that was a nice, cool piece to show off. So yeah, we'll get to the score sheet. Here's the Buffaloes. The other side of the Buffaloes that was missing. Points sheet. And here's the extra Canadian score sheet. Alright, and we're on Season 2, Box 16 of our nickels. And we had 9 over 60 million for 9 points, 4 under 60 million for 8 points, 1 under 40 million for 5 points, 2 under 10 million for 50 points, plus 3 for one of them being a Buffalo, and we got 1 Tiara Canadian for 10 points. So we have a total points of 85 points on this box. That's absolutely great. I always love seeing a box over 40 points. That's when you know they're good. But other than that, though, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Right, J-Dog out.